Pausha Shukla Ekadashi. The pious and saintly Yudhishthira Maharaj said, O Lord, you have so nicely explained to us the wonderful glories of the Shukla Ekadashi, which occurs during the dark fortnight, Krishna Paksha, for the month of Pausha, December, January. Now please be merciful to me and explain to me the details of the Ekadashi that occurs in the light fortnight of Shukla or Gaura Paksha of this month. What is its name and what deity is to be worshipped on that sacred day? O Purushottam, O Hrishikesh, please also tell me how you can be pleased on this day. Lord Sri Krishna then replied, O saintly king, for the benefit of all humanity, I shall now tell you how to observe fasting on the Pausha Shukla Ekadashi. As previously explained, everyone should observe the rules and regulations of the Ekadashi Vrat to the best of everyone's ability. This injunction also applies to the Ekadashi named Putrada, which destroys all sins and elevates one to the spiritual abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Narayan, the original personality, is the worshipable deity of the Ekadashi, and for his faithful devotees, he happily fulfills all desires and awards full perfection. Thus, among all the animate and inanimate beings in the three worlds, lower, middle, and higher planetary systems, there is no better personality than Lord Narayan, O King. Now I shall narrate to you the history of Putrada Ekadashi or Vaikuntha Ekadashi, because it takes one back to Godhead. So this is also Vaikuntha, which removes all kinds of sins and makes one famous and learned. There was once a kingdom named Bhadravati, which was ruled by King 𝐶𝐤𝐬𝐴. His queen was the famous 𝐒𝐰𝐬𝐴. Because he had no son, he spent a long time in anxiety, thinking, if I have no son, who will carry on my dynasty? In this way, the king meditated in a religious attitude for a very long time, thinking, where should I go? What should I do? How can I get a pious son, Putra? In this way, King 𝐶𝐤𝐬𝐴 could find no happiness anywhere in his kingdom, even in his own palace. And soon he was spending more and more time inside his wife's palace, gloomily thinking only of how he could get a son. Thus, both King 𝐶𝐤𝐬𝐴 and Queen 𝐒𝐰𝐬𝐴 were in great distress. Even when they offered tarpan, oblations of water, to their forefathers, their mutual misery made them think that it was as undrinkable as boiling water. They thus thought that they would have no descendant to offer tarpan to them when they died, and those become lost souls, ghosts. The king and queen were especially upset to learn that their forefathers were worried that soon there will be no one to offer them tarpan also. So we should try to understand something here. King 𝐶𝐤𝐬𝐴 and his queen 𝐒𝐰𝐬𝐴, they are seriously in agony, they are seriously in anxiety, they have extremely worried and concerned. We should not look at it materially. Also, we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have had this pastime many times, Chitraketu Maharaj, desiring so much to get a son, he married millions of wives. We can look at it, what a sense gratifier. We can say like that. Very easy to say like that. But please wait. Just wait a moment. Just a moment. Your thinking may not be justified, may not be correct. Because a responsible child, Putra, a responsible child wouldn't like to end the business of his or her father. Wouldn't like to close down his father's business. Wouldn't like to turn down the family heritage. A responsible child will not do that. A responsible child would like to maintain, to keep it on. So, all Satriyas, they are leaders, and they must get somebody to continue what they have established. And moreover, our system is parampara. A bona fide spiritual master will never be happy. He will never be happy until he has disciples who are qualified, not only to go back to Godhead, but to keep what he has established until he has to also train qualified successor and hand over before he leaves. This is what is happening. So Papa said, if I can make one devotee, I will consider my attempt a success. One pure devotee. This is the interest of every pure devotee. Every responsible leader will keep parampara. So for that, Chitraketu Maharaj married the millions of wives we are talking about. And here, anxiety. Here, Prabhupada is what the Prabhupada did: establish deity worship, chanting of the holy name, college preaching, Bhakti Dhira, Namahat, food for life, book distribution. What else? Everything, giving the scriptures, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, method of devotion, of instruction, all the books, everything. And Prabhupada did, building temples, Gurukul, everywhere. Why? To look for one pure devotee. So Chitraketu Maharaj married million wives. Here he is helplessly searching, doing everything within his reach to get a child. Dasharat Maharaj, he performed severe austerity many times, give charity, visited all holy places, everything they did to get a child. Not just to get a child, a sense gratification, to get a representative. And Krishna told the Pandavas, let us go to grandfather in a royal way so that he'll be happy to depart. That yes, I have somebody to represent me to continue. My effort is not a waste. Santanu Maharaj. All this you see with responsible personalities. So we should understand these things. Why we are hearing things like this, reading things like this. Oh, just to get what you can get women are also human beings. What you get plenty girls. What's the problem? Yes, the girl will not lead, but the man will lead. So the body culture, you see that every householder expect the first child to be a boy, because if the last child is a boy, then you cannot retire. It has to grow and become mature to take over from you before you can retire. Otherwise, their duty is not complete. You cannot retire immaturely. So every responsible person expect the first child to be a boy. So by the time you are 50, the boy is already 25. That is basic arrangement. Of course, now people are marrying at the age of 50. And some people are marrying at the age of 60. All these are against Vedic structure. And we have philosophy to back it. Well, I know that as I still have desire, therefore I don't want to misbehave because I'm marrying at the age of 60. So don't blame me for that. Just don't be a nuisance. Right? That is, I'm justified. 60, yeah. So otherwise, my mind is still there. I will contaminate other girls and pollute the whole community. So be responsible. Try to get a wife. Yes, we have that in this country, and the philosophy is going on like that. So that is against Vedic culture, but I couldn't to play time and circumstances. It's allowed. Time and circumstances. Time and circumstances. So this will be understood. After learning of their forefathers' unhappiness, the king and queen became more and more miserable, and neither ministers nor friends nor even loved ones could cheer them up. To the king, his elephant and horses and infantry were no solace, and at last he became particularly inert and helpless. So this we should also understand. Devotees should not be complacent. We should not miss the goal. Because in Krishna consciousness there are so many things. If you're not careful, we will become satisfied with the position and forget the goal. Responsible people are careful about the goal and they are focused. Then they will succeed. The king thought to himself, it is said that without a son, marriage is wasted. These days we have people who are getting married. They don't have interest to have child, but they're just marrying to have sex. And they call that sex a marriage. It is not marriage. It is something else. Indeed, for a family man with no son, both his hut and splendid house remain vacant and miserable. Bereft of a son, a man cannot liquidate the debts that he owes his forefathers, the demigods, devas, and to other human beings. Therefore, every married man should endeavor to beget a son. Thus he will become famous within this world and at last attain the auspicious celestial realms. A sun is proof of the pious activities a man performed in his past 100 lifetimes. And such a person achieves a long duration of life in this world, along with good health and good wealth. Possessing sons and grandsons in this lifetime proves that one has worshipped Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the past. The great blessing of sons, wealth, and sharp intelligence can be achieved only by worshipping the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. That is my opinion. This is the beauty of our scriptures. Everything is there. Why a person will marry and there is not son? It means what? We did not worship Lord Vishnu in the past life. That is clear. In the fourth canto of Bhagavatam, it is there. Maharaj Anga. All these things I explained. Thinking thus the king had no peace, he remained in anxiety day and night, from morning to evening, and from the time he lay down to sleep at night until the sun rose in the morning. His dreams were equally full of great anxiety. A condemned person will never feel remorseful for being irresponsible in not executing our duties perfectly. A responsible person is very careful, very concerned about everything. He's careful. What am I going to leave behind? I'm going to leave a culture of success, a culture of perfection, a culture of divinity, or I'm going to leave a culture of nonsense. Every responsible person is careful about this. Therefore, he's looking for a son to keep the tradition, not to close it. We should not close the parampara. We should keep it on. Yes. Suffering such constant anxiety and apprehension, King 𝐤𝐸𝐴 decided to end his misery by committing suicide. But he realized that the suicide throws a person into hellish conditions of rebirth, and so he abandoned that idea. Seeing that he was gradually destroying himself by his all-consuming anxiety over the lack of a son, the king at last mounted his horse and left for the dense forest alone. No one, not even the priests and Brahmins of the palace, knew where he had gone. In that forest, which was filled with deer and birds and other animals, King 𝐤𝐸𝐴 wandered aimlessly, noting all the different kinds of trees and shrubs, such as the fig, bell fruit, date, palm, jackfruit, bakula, saptaparana, tinduka, and tilaka, as well as the shala, tala, tamal, sarala, hingota, arjuna, abera, baheda, salaki, karonda, patala, kaira, saka, and palasa trees. All were beautifully decorated with fruits and flowers. He saw deer, tigers, wild boar, lions, monkeys, snakes, huge bull elephants in route, cow elephants with their calves, and 4 tusked elephants with their mate close by. There were cows, jackals, rabbits, leopard, and hippopotamuses. Beholding all these animals accompanied by their mates and offspring, the king remembered his own menagerie, especially his palace elephants, and became so sad that he absent-mindedly wandered into their very midst. Suddenly the king heard a jackal howl in the distance. Startled, he began wandering about, looking around in all directions. Soon it was midday, and the king started to tire. He was tormented by hunger and thirst also. He thought, what sinful deed could possibly have done that, so that I am now forced to suffer like this, with my throat parched and burning, and my stomach empty and rumbling? I have pleased the devas, demigods with numerous fire sacrifices, and have abundant devotional worship. I have given many gifts and delicious sweets in charity to all the worthy Brahmins too, and I have taken care of my subjects as though they were my very own children. Why then am I suffering so? What unknown sins have come to bear fruit and torment me in this dreadful way? Absorbed in this thought, King 𝐤𝐴𝐴 struggled forward, and eventually, due to his pious credit, he came upon a beautiful lotus-bearing pond that resembled the famous lake Manasarovar. It was filled with aquatics, including crocodiles and many varieties of fish, and graced with varieties of lilies and lotuses. The beautiful lotuses had opened to the sun, and swans, cranes, and ducks swam happily in its waters. Nearby were many attractive ashramas where there resided many saints and sages who could fulfill the desires of anyone. Indeed, they wished everyone well. When the king saw all these, his right arm and right eye began to quiver, a sakuna sign for a male that something auspicious was about to happen. As the king dismounted his horse and stood before the sages who sat on the shore of the pond, he saw that they were chanting the holy names of God on japa beads. The king paid his obeisances and, joining his palms, addressed them with the glorified praises. Observing the respect the king offered them, the sages said, "We are very pleased with you, O king. Kindly tell us why you have come here. What is on your mind? Please inform us what is your heart's desire." The king replied, "O great sages, who are you? What are your names? Surely your presence reveals that you are auspicious saints. Why have you come to this beautiful place? Please tell me everything." The sage replied, "O king, we are known as 10 Vishwa Devas, the sons of Vishwa, Vasu, Satya, Kratu, Daksha, Kala, Karma, Dhriti, Pururava, Madhrava, and Kuru. We have come here to this very lovely pond to bathe. The month of Magha, Madhava Mas, will soon be here in 5 days from the Magha Nakshatra. And today is a famous Putrada Ekadashi. One who desires a son should strictly observe this particular Ekadashi." The king said, "I have tried so hard to have son. If you great sages are pleased with me, kindly grant the boon of having a good son, Putra." The very meaning of Putrada, the sages replied, is giver of Putra, pious son. So please observe a complete fast on this Ekadashi day. If you do so, then by our blessing and by the mercy of the Sri Keshava invested in us, surely he will obtain a son. On the advice of the Vishwadevas, the king observed the auspicious fast day of Putrada Ekadashi according to the established rules and regulations. And on the Dwadashi, after breaking his fast, he paid obeisance again and again to all of them. Soon after, 𝐁𝐡𝐚𝐤𝐿 returned to his palace and united with his queen. Queen 𝐒𝐳𝐵ia immediately became pregnant, and exactly as the Vishwadevas had predicted, a bright-faced, beautiful son was born to them. In due course of time, he became famous as an heroic prince, and the king gladly pleased his noble son by making him his successor. The son of 𝐁𝐡𝐚𝐤𝐿 took care of his subject very conscientiously, just as if they were his own children. In conclusion, O Yudhishthira, one who wishes to fulfill his desires should strictly observe Putrada Ekadashi. While on this planet, one who strictly observes this Ekadashi will surely obtain a son, and after death, he will achieve liberation. Anyone who even reads or hears the glories of Putrada Ekadashi obtains the merit end by performing an whole sacrifice. It is to benefit all humanity that I have explained all this to you. Thus ends the narration of the glories of Pausa Sukla Ekadashi or Putrada Ekadashi from the Bhavishya Purana of Veda Vihas. So the sannyasi also fast from this? Yes. What are you expecting? Want to get 100 wife like Taketu? You don't need to get 1 million wives, millions of wives. We can make many children devotees, and all of them become pure devotees. For that, so we can observe Ekadashi and be blessed by Putrada. Da, the word da means giver. You say Yaso da, da. Yasa, da, one who gives fame. So Putrada, the son that gives, the son that gives liberation. Putrada, Putrada Ekadashi. This Ekadashi gives us a pious, a pure devotion for Krishna. We can have pure devotion for Krishna. For those who are married, can have pure children for Krishna. And some others can have pure devotees, disciples, and send back home back to Godhead. After they have also sufficiently preached. So the son, it is said that the son of 𝐁𝐡𝐚𝐤𝐿 took care of his subject very conscientiously, just as if they were his own children. This is a son, Putrada. Give opportunity. Yes. A devotee should give opportunity for other human beings, other persons, other living entities to become Christian conscious. We should give people chance. We should give people Christian consciousness, make people the whole world Christian conscious. That, for that reason, everyone should observe this Ekadashi to the best of our ability. And the result is wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Questions? They are composing the question. They were saying it. Have you checked?
Okay.
You have questions, you have comments? If you don't have question, you can indicate no questions, so we can close. Wait. Check this now. Reply. Is it here? Hmm? Hmm? All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Wishing you happy Ekadashi, Putrada Ekadashi, or Vaikuntha Ekadashi. Hare Krishna. All right. Hey.
By Monisha Raji. Just she's asking why Putrada Ekadashi is also known as Vaikuntha Ekadashi. Is there any particular significance for being called as Vaikuntha Ekadashi?
In the beginning, I mentioned that this Ekadashi, or all the Ekadashis, are meant to take us back to Godhead. This is called Vaikuntha because Putrada, like I said before, we have children that can send us back to Godhead by their tarpan and by their devotion and by assisting their forefathers. People can get back home, back to Godhead. That is why this is related with Vaikuntha Ekadashi. So we can go back to Godhead by observing this Ekadashi. Hare Krishna.
One more.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Shilaguri. What about those devotees who don't have sons but only daughter?
Those who have no sons but only daughter means that in their past lives they did not worship Lord Vishnu nicely, according to Srila Vyasadeva. And I have read somewhere once, yeah, it's from Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So a calf was going to the pond to drink water, and at that time one person came along, and he didn't allow the calf to drink water. He pushed the calf away and drank the water, because of depriving the calf from drinking water. In his next life, he had no son. So one has to fast and Putrada Ekadashi to neutralize that offense. And here it is mentioned that we have not done something wonderful, worshipping Lord Vishnu properly. As a result of that, we have this karma of not having sons. Also in the fourth canto I mentioned, Maharaj Anga, he did mention this. So in the Bhagavatam it is there. Brahma Vaivarta Purana is there. And it's very important for us to try to do something good, because they help us in many ways. All right. Hare Krishna. Yes. Good.
Please, how can we relate with those who are quick to give judgment or pass conclusions?
Huh?
how can we relate or act to those who are quick to give judgment on conclusions?
Well, which is those who are quick in giving judgment without having in-depth understanding about the situation. It means they are too hasty. And what is that? They're too hasty because of lack of knowledge. They have no knowledge. So we should see them as ignorant fools and not be worried about them. Ignorant fools. Jumping into conclusions without a thorough understanding about the situation. We will always have a wrong judgment. Intelligent people should look at things very carefully before we say something. Yes.
Last one. From Shivasani Devidasi. Maharaj, is it necessary that we have to do everything said about Putrada Ekadashi, or just to complete fast from food or water?
Yes, if you have read it, it is important to have read it a day before, so we can know all the detailed things to do. In Srimati Radhani, she gave a perfect example, a process how to observe Ekadashi to the Jagya Sitas. Perfect description. So it is very important for us to follow it. And if we, of course, for some of the things are difficult. You have to bathe in well water. In the city, you don't have well water. Some, not all. But in the situation like that, then you don't have to worry. You can go for the second option. If you fast completely in this jar, then it covers everything, and you pray to Krishna. And the purpose is to pray Lord Krishna, Bhoga Tyaga Krishna Prithya. If that is our purpose, then it is covered. But it's very important for us to avoid eating on the Ekadashi day completely. Irja, very, very important. It may look ordinary, we may say so many things, but it is not keep like that. It's very, very important. We should do it. But if we cannot, knowing our limitations, we should do what we can do. The most important thing, we should not avoid doing our services because of fasting. So if we can fast and do our services nicely, then it is good. So we should do it. It will be wonderful. All right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.